This is Late Tea Time, the golf betting podcast that finds the best betting value closer to the first shot being struck than anyone else.
Always gamble responsibly. Visit begambleaware.org for more information.
And hello, Late Tea Time podders. We've got a new swanky little intro, so I'll put that together today, Dave. Kept me busy, kept me off the streets for the day, but it brings us to another Late Tea Time podcast. And in this one, we're looking ahead to the Valero Texas Open, and also a little bit of a sneak peek into next week, because it's none other than the Masters in Augusta, which is always a very, very tasty event. So it's me, James, and it's him, Dave. How are you?
I'm good, and where will I be next week when the Masters is on?
You'll be in a totally different part of the world, won't you? Where you go, Japan?
Yes, in South Korea.
Yeah.
So in the Masters, I'll be there when Hideki Matsuyama wins again. So that'll be a good place to be.
They'll be dancing on the streets of Tokyo.
Oh,
and
yeah.
They'll show that on the telly, and there'll be Tindall in the middle of it going, hey. When you're away next week, the reason we're kind of going to get your opinions today is because we've got Matt Cooper. I'm going to be joining me next week for the 4 days of the Masters event. So we'll welcome him back. He's been on the Late Tea Time podcast before. Did rather well, actually, when he was on. He got some winning bets. So we're welcoming him for the Masters. But anyway, today we are looking at the Valero Texas Open. And before we get DT's comments here, we will have a look at the top end of the market. Tyrrell Hatton is the tournament favourite. He's 12-1, 18-1 for Ricky Fowler. Siwoo Kim is 22. He's got 25s for Davis Riley, 25s for Hideki Matsuyama, the aforementioned. Also, Corey Connors is there at 25 as well. Chris Kirk, 28, as is Taylor Montgomery. So, DT, we come as late as possible. We're keeping our promise at the moment to come as late as possible on a Wednesday. It is just after 9 p.m. in the UK. We come as late as possible to allow you the chance to get all of the latest rumours, gossip, information from the course that people that write in their previews on a Monday don't get. Has that led us anywhere today?
No. See you later.
All of that preamble.
I know. I felt it deserved a sort of no, just to cut you off. Just quickly on last week. That was good, wasn't it, last week?
Yes.
We were not just late, we were halfway through the tournament for the match play, but we put up an ACCA on the Saturday. Was it Saturday morning, Friday night?
Friday night, was it late?
Friday night we recorded it. 13-2 ACCA, that came in, which was good. And then our pick, Cameron Young, finished runner-up. So that was all good, wasn't it, last week?
Yes, in profit, nicely in profit.
Yeah,
last week in the match play, we should come halfway through a tournament more often.
Well, yeah, there you go. It's maybe the way forward. But this week, we're just going to look at the Valero Texas Open before it gets underway. Because we're quite close to the start. Obviously, in Texas, one of the things you always think about is the weather and how windy it's going to be, because it often blows quite hard in Texas. Now, I've looked at the latest weather forecast, and it's definitely going to be pretty windy. And looking at it, it seems that it might be best if you've got an early tee time on Thursday, round 1, and a late tee time Friday, round 2. Not incredibly so, but just it looks like it's a help. You're just going to get less wind on both days, presuming all goes to plan and there's no curtailments for thunderstorms or anything. So I was looking at some of the players I like. I mean, I've written a couple of previews this week and picked out some players. But in terms of who I like, there's always going to be like maybe on your short list, long list, 6 or 7 players. The one I like who's got that ideal tee time is Davis Riley, who is Davis Riley. Yeah, you've done that joke before, haven't you? And it remains a good one. He tees off.
I don't really know.
I don't really know. I teed off. He tees off early on Thursday and late Friday, and I'd certainly like his chances. If you look at his form, I've just pulled up the other player that I like. He's played well in Florida, got an 8th and a 19th in Florida. He actually won a Corn Ferry Tour tournament at this very course, TPC San Antonio. Considered like a really good ball striker and considered somebody who will win soon. And this tournament, I counted up, I think of the last 11 editions, 6 have been won by a player that hadn't won before. So okay. And that's even, I think, in the last 5, it might be 4 in the last 5. So it is particularly good for a player to get their breakthrough. In terms of recent ones, it could be because it's pre-Masters slot and maybe some of the better players are just thinking about the following week. But Davis Riley, you'd think he would, if he's going to win, he's probably going to win in Florida or Texas or somewhere in the South. So here we are in Texas. He's actually won on this course before. He's playing nicely in Florida just the last few weeks. And I think he's pretty much generally available at 25-1. And because he's got that favourable, or it seems that favourable tee time slot, I think it's just bumped him up my list a little bit.
Yeah, best price 25-1, as you say, 8 places with both Sky Bet and William Hill, which is as good as you can get. So that's Davis Riley. Goes on to the old betting slip for the Valero Texas Open. Is there anything else in Texas that you want to get off your chest?
Yeah, another. Do you remember a few years ago we put up a bet? I think it was Spieth to finish something like top 5 here and top 5 at Augusta, and it landed, didn't it? Yeah. I mentioned that just so we can relive the glory of it, but I also mentioned that because Spieth obviously is a Texan, and you've got a lot of Texas players who've won this tournament or done very well in this tournament.
Okay.
It makes sense, doesn't it? It's in their backyard. They know about the winds, how to play in them, the grasses and everything. So the one they've actually pulled in for interview this week is not the most obvious Texan, Cole Hammer.
I was going to say, I was going to have to let you down gently there. That's Jordan Spieth's not playing in this event, but you're going to go with somebody else, another Texan.
Yeah. Cole Hammer. So I thought, James, given the fact you love singing, you would immediately sing something there.
I can't do. I'm not really good at that kind of singing.
Hammer. Go on. No.
No.
Hammer time. Anyway,
I don't sing on the Late Tea Time podcast.
Okay, you save it for other
outlets. Yeah.
Yes. So Cole Hammer lives in Houston. Went to the University of Texas.
I mean, if anybody wants to email us at Late Tea Time Pod requesting a song for next week, I can learn it.
Okay. Georgia on my mind. Well, what do you know about?
Yeah, Georgia.
About Masters, some Masters song. I'll leave it with you. You're the singer. I do the impressions. You do the songs.
Oh yeah, we'll get you a Harry Kane before we leave today.
So Cole Hammer, if you look in the outright odds, he's 300-1, which looks.
He is. Yeah, I just found him. I have to scroll a long way down for him.
Yeah, looks a bit crazy. But in his interview, because he's a local, he's played this before, so he talks about because it's quite a tough course, this one, especially if it gets windy. He says, I prefer harder golf courses when there's a little bit of wind and a little bit of strategy. I feel like I focus better and play my best golf. Then he said he's played this course while he was in college and really enjoyed it. So someone who you might not have thought anything about, just he's a guy way down the lists. Suddenly we've got a bit of info on him with that. And then if you look at what he's achieved of late, it's not an awful lot, but he was 5th at the RSM Classic. That's pretty good. 5th at that tournament. That's a sort of a windy tournament. And then his last start in Texas was 27th in the Houston Open, which is pretty decent as well. Looking at, he made the cut at Bay Hill, which was pretty decent. And he actually, his tee to green play was pretty good. He was 20th. In that, which, in an elite field at Bay Hill, that's impressive. Then last time at the Valspar, though he didn't make the cut, his putting was a lot better than it had been. It was pretty dire at Bay Hill. So if he can just tweak put those two things together, some on a course in an area that he knows really well, we might just have something. I don't want to go too mad on him, but you can. He's sort of someone I thought you could maybe back to finish in the top 30, something like that. He's 9-2. If you
9-2.
Yeah, 9-2 to finish in the top 30. So
if you want to go a little bit mad on that, you can get him at 66s to be top 5. That's where I was looking.
Right.
But 9-2 to be top 30.
Yeah, you can do, other combination top 20 maybe. I think he's 11's top 20. Put him in it if you can find him. I doubt you'll find him in a match bet, but I think one of the top 20, 30 sort of markets you can do. I thought 9-2 is fair enough. Base for the weekend, some more if he lands that.
You get him at 11-1 to be 20. In the top 20. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to officially say though top 30 at 9-2. He did just that on his last start in Texas when he was 27th in the Houston Open. Shot a second round 65, closing 68, and just those tee to green numbers at Bay Hill 20th. That sort of shows that he is a player that can do pretty well. He's actually played in 3 US Opens because of his amateur sort of exploits. He's qualified. When did he turn pro? 2022. So he's played in the US Open 3 times as an amateur. So he's clearly got something about his game. He's not like 20. I mean, well, he's 23. I mean, he's pretty young, isn't it? So he's getting there. And I think this is just a place where he can do quite well. So I know you want to get excited. I mean, he's 300-1, I think, on the outright. Yeah. If you get really excited. So you could, if you want to chuck a bit of loose change at that. But officially, 9-2, top 30, I think he can do that.
I was just thinking when you were reeling off his age and stuff, I gave you a quiz last week, didn't I? And a couple of weeks ago. And I was thinking about doing it but you've got his Wikipedia page open yourself there, haven't you?
Sorry, yes.
Yeah. Ruined it. Absolutely ruined it.
I'll put
the Twitter feed handle on the screen there. It's at Late Tea Time Pod. If you want to get in touch with us or follow us on Twitter, so you know what's going on, you'll get these videos go out on the Twitter feed, on the Facebook, and on the YouTube, and obviously go out on the more traditional, as they say, audio format. So on all major podcast platforms later on. There he is, the Beatles.
Beatles in Japan mug.
All right.
Getting in the spirit.
Well, I remember, before we go on to the Masters, give us your Harry Kane.
It's just a noise, isn't it? So, obviously.
Thank you, Harry.
Yeah. I've been working on a Roy Hodgson one, which I'll do at some point.
Okay. Right. Before you disappear, before you get on that plane and whisk yourself away to Japan and South Korea, let's have a think ahead to my favourite golf tournament. We always say this, don't we? When we talk about the Masters, I think it's both of our favourites. Just edging out the Open in England, or in the UK rather. But Augusta, the Masters 2023 is just around the corner, and you, for Betfair, do your trends picks, don't you? You look back through the years, you work out who's done what, when, and how. And that brings you to various conclusions, doesn't it? It might be worth us just maybe running through some of those for the dear late tea time podders out there.
Yeah, I sort of look at what's happened, as you say, over the last 10 years and various categories such as age, previous performances at Augusta this year. I've got how well players are doing in strokes gained around the green, which is a massive pointer to success at Augusta, and also approach play. So that's gone in there. Their recent form, if you look at form, it's always a big pointer as well. So I kind of allocated a points scoring system. So I put that all into the computer and it spat out at the very top, Jordan Spieth.
This is really a notebook, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. And then I noticed a few people have said to me since it went out, this year the Masters falls on Easter Sunday.
Okay.
And the last 2 Easter Sundays, he's won.
All right. Is that right?
Yeah. That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
So I know
that's interesting.
It's weird, isn't it? I'm pretty sure he's a man of God, as are many of the Americans. So I don't know for whatever reason that it's another little omen. I mean, I don't mention that in the trends piece, but yeah, a few people have said it could be. I mean, forgetting all that, just his Masters record is bonkers, isn't it? He's got a win, a couple of seconds, a couple of thirds. 16 to 1, 18 to 1, something like that, I think he is.
Yeah, his best price is 18s, and you can get him 6 places with Betfred at 18 to 1. I mean, we always mention this, though, don't we? That for the Masters, most bookies do specials and various things as well. So it might be just worth keeping your powder dry. Yeah. If you've got a particular selection, unless you really like the price that's in front of you now, maybe just wait until a couple of days before the event, because there'll be all sorts of specials there, won't there? And maybe some enhanced prices.
Yeah, there'll be some in different each way terms as well. I think now, as we record this Wednesday, you're only getting 5 or 6 places. You'll get like 8, maybe 10 places with some layers. I mean, you might lose a bit off the price because of that. But if you want to take Spieth now, he's not playing in Texas. There's no obvious reason why this price should go. But if you want to just get on now, just you could do it win only to get get best price.
Yeah,
but yeah, you might want to wait a little bit.
Yeah, so Jordan Spieth is the man that's been spat out of Tindall's notebook.
Yeah. He came top. Rory McIlroy was second, and Xander Schauffele was third. They were the top 3.
We're going to go through a few days of can Rory win a major after all this time, won't they? As we do ahead of every major. He needs to win one, doesn't he, to actually stop that happening?
9 years since he last won one. It's crazy.
Yeah, that number keeps going up, but he's still, I mean, he's a fantastic player. He's playing brilliantly. There's no reason why not, is there? But yeah, we'll see. Is there anything else on the Masters you want to get off your chest before you disappear on it?
Well, I do feel slightly obliged to, given where I'll be, to have a few quid on Hideki Matsuyama, because you talk about when to put the bets on. He is playing this week in Texas. Now, he pulled out of the match play with a bad neck, and it's not the first time he's had a bad neck. And for punters, it's a pain in the neck, because you don't want that to be happening. But I just wondered if he almost didn't really fancy playing in the match play with the Masters coming up. He thought, I'll have that week off. You know, it might have felt a little niggle, but just to be sure, I'll have that week off. Then he can play here and then go to Augusta, hopefully in full health. I think his price at Augusta is too big.
He's 50 to 1 best price.
Yeah, I know. You know, the guy won it 2 years ago, and he's got, you know, he's had other top 7s and 8s, and you know, he was 5th at the Players' Championship a couple of weeks ago. So yeah,
with a bad, I mean, as long as it's not his neck's not hanging off him. One of the things about golf is you keep your head still, isn't it? You know, your neck's there to support your head, and you keep your head as still as possible while you're playing the shot. So it's not like you're having to head a football or do something dramatic with your neck.
No, clearly it bothers him. Unless it's, you know, whether it's just a convenient thing sometimes. But he clearly wants to be right for Augusta. So I think if his neck wasn't great, he wouldn't be playing this week.
No,
because you know his focus is Augusta. So you know we're recording this now. You know he'll pull out, won't he, in the morning, and we'll look silly. But presuming that all is okay, if he just gets to Augusta in one piece, I think he's got a chance. But what I would say though, if he has a really big week this week, his price will go. So
yes,
it might be worth just having a few quid on that 50 to 1 right now, or seeing at least, you know, what he does in the first round. And if he shoots to -7 and leads after round 1, you know, fine well his Augusta price will get chopped. So just keep an eye on him.
Just before you go, I've got 2 names to run past you because I'm thinking of having a bet on the Masters. Colin Morikawa. I mean, there's no surprise there from me. Is there 22 to 1? And Will Zalatoris. I mean, he's basically been knocking on the door in majors for so long, hasn't he? I just wonder if he might get across the line this time.
He's bang out of form, isn't he? He's done nothing this year.
I mean, I know we haven't spoken about him for ages, have we? Which is possibly why. But he does seem to raise his game, though, doesn't he?
It does, but he's been injured and then he's been out of form.
Okay.
Yeah, he's won. He's got none of the got none of that sort of bank of form that you need. So he's one.
Well, shall I cross him off my betting slip and put my other mate Victor Hovland on instead then?
Well, I'd put your money on Morikawa. Double your stake on Morikawa. I think he'll. Okay. I can't see him not being right up there. I think he'll have a big week. Go
on, Colin. Good luck.
Was he fifth last year, I think, Morikawa?
Yeah. We'll talk about Colin, I'm sure, next week.
What do you say? It was 22s?
22s, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good each way price.
Yeah. Yeah, good luck to Colin. Anyway, the bets this week, Valero Texas Open, we look at Davis Riley, 25-1, 8 places with Sky Bet and William Hill. We've got Cole Hammer. He's 300-1 to win the thing, but we're looking at him to probably get into the top 30, 9-2. If you fancy top 20, 11-1. If you fancy top 5, 66-1. There's all the different permutations there. Put a little bit on all of them if you really want to. Masters 2023, Dave's picks before he disappears to Japan and South Korea. Jordan Spieth has been spat out of the Tindall computer as the top pick there, 18-1, 6 places with Betfred. And Hideki Matsuyama, purely because he's heading to Japan. Hideki Matsuyama is 50-1 to get that trophy back.
Bit more reasoning than that, but yeah, that's probably,
Well, on that basis, there'll be a few people watching saying, "Well, I'm in Switzerland. Who's some Switzerland player?" But Hideki. It's Hideki. I mean, he has got pedigree, hasn't he? And there's a big thing in sport. You go to a course, you go to a grounds where you've had success before. It brings back all of those positive vibes, doesn't it? You know, you start to feel it again.
And if you look at history, it's like it's quite good for players who've won it. Then they have a duff year the year after when they're defending. It's too much. It's got to sort the dinner out and Champions dinner out.
Get your menu,
yeah. You've got to do all the extra media work. So someone like Bubba wins it in 2012, rubbish the next year, then he wins it again. Mickelson, he won, had a year, won, missed it, and then won again. I think even someone like Arnold Palmer went win, didn't win, win, didn't win. So it's a thing. So Hideki, a year, 2 years on from his win, no pressure on him this time.
If I was the reigning champion, I was doing the menu. I'd have fish and chips, and then raspberry pavlova for dessert.
I think Nick Faldo had fish and chips, didn't he, when he won?
I see.
Hideki had good food. Had sushi and black cod, really nice.
Yeah. I mean, he had to, really, didn't he? Given where he comes
from.
He'd
be disappointed, wouldn't it, if he'd get like Yorkshire pudding or something? That would have been.
Anyway, DT, enjoy your holiday.
Thank you.
And enjoy. I'm sure you'll be watching a little bit of the Masters. You'll be following the scores at the very least from Japan and South Korea, and you'll certainly be following the scores from the Valero Texas Open to see how Davis Riley and Cole Hammer get on. So you enjoy your holiday. I'll welcome Matt Cooper to the podcast next week, and I'll see you the week. Well, when are you back? Are you back the week after, or the week after that?
I'll be good for the next Wednesday after.
Right, okay. So we'll see you then. But anyway, it's been a sports broadcast media production. It is the Late Tea Time podcast. And myself and Matt Cooper, we'll see you next week for the Masters. I can't wait for that. Should be good. See you then.
Always gamble responsibly. Visit begambleaware.org for more information.